Hey guys, what's up? We've got a confirmation of the full list of the new Charmer support, and I have to say, I am so disappointed with it. It's so underwhelming and it's so lackluster that I'm quite speechless about it, really. I was so happy when I saw this being confirmed, even though it didn't rate as the highest within the poll for archetypes. I think it ranked like third, but it's still got its comeuppance. My issue is with when I saw the Sacred Beasts, they got so much support. They could run more consistently. There was so much that could be done for them that you could make a rogue decks from them quite easily. Of course, it helped that they had, for example, that tree card which lets you draw two cards every turn just by controlling a sacred beast. Of course, you had certain cards like that which were actually really decent even before the additional support. So I was thinking from then that actually Konami actually cared about the archetypes that they were reprinting and remaking, and I thought they put so much more care into a deck which is so mishmashed based on different attributes, and that they needed more support than the Sacred Beasts. Of course, these charmers have been scattered throughout various sets. You've got some of the later sets having link monsters, and you've got some of the older sets with the original charmer monsters, and you've had bits here and there, but we are not getting much of anything. I will go through this list briefly. I'm not going to go through effects or anything, but just give you my kind of opinions and where things are standing. So, of course, you've got the first four cards: Ursa, Araya, Heater, and Win. These are going to be parallel rares. They are just a different artwork for the original Charm monsters. There's no change to them. The Awakening of the Possessed for the Nefarious and Reaper of Nefariousness and Great Inari Fire are super rares. That's fine. These are two new cards. My issue is, where are the other two? Where are they? Because you've got Gagagigo, and you've got the you've got well, it's called Gigabyte. You've got that one, and you've also got Ranryu. So the water and the wind attributes, which are not getting an Awakening of the Possessed effect. So we're not seeing any interactions of those, which I just think is so stupid. Traditionally, when they've brought out all of this support, even if they're not focused on the light and the darks, they've always had all of the other attributes involved. They've never said it's just earth, it's just fire. They've mentioned earth, fire, water, and wind, all supported usually at the same time. I just don't like that they've not added these effects in, and it's such a disappointment that we're not seeing them. Nefariousness, Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness, Gigabyte, Inari Fire, and Ranryu, all the familiars. That's to be expected. They were going to be in there. Nothing new about them. The fairy tale monsters, some of them are to do with kind of setting and flips, so that's actually how they interact. Witchcrafter, Golem, Aruru, I'm not familiar with that. Dark Doriado has some sort of interaction with attributes and resetting cards on the top of your deck, so top decking is quite useful. Witch of the Black Forest again works with them because they have 1500 or less defense, if I remember correctly. Effect Veiler, just monster effect negation, it's okay. Santa Claus, it's just general removal. So you tribute a monster on your opponent's side of the field, and that's fine. Denko Sekka helps to prevent spell and traps from being activated, so that's okay. Sangan, since Witch of the Black Forest was in this, obviously Sangan would get reprint. That also helps to search out for the original Charmers. The Grand Spiritual Arch Ichirin is one of the new cards. It's also, I think it's their field spell. You've got Awakening of the Possessed, which is also a new card. Secret Village of the Spellcasters is okay support. It helps to shut down your opponent's spell cards if you control the spellcaster. However, if you don't have one, then you're no longer able to use spell cards. Wonder Wand helps you to just, it's a draw card. Spellbook of Knowledge is just a searcher. Terraforming helps to search for your field spells. Book of Eclipse just helps with the whole interactions between flip summoning, which helps to trigger off their effects of the Charmers. Heatwave prevents summoning. Twin Twisters is just decent spell and trap removal. Dark Ruler No More is good if your opponent has lots of monsters that have effects which would normally trigger. Teamwork of the Possessed is kind of like the final card in here, which is new, and it's also going to be a super rare. Unpossessed had to be in here alongside all of the spiritual art cards. I had hoped that we were going to receive brand new versions, but then again that just never materialised. Metaverse is also one of those cards that just brings out a field spell. Dimensional Barrier I think is actually a good reprint in here. Lots of duelists are sick of the link monsters and prefer actually some of the other extra deck monsters, which this card helps to prevent the summoning of. Evenly Matched is a staple card, and Solemn Warning is also a bit of a staple. As for the other cards, you also have, for the Familiar Possessed, they're all going to have the brand new illustrations, and you have the token cards as well, which I've mentioned in a previous episode, and which in a previous video that I've done. I'll actually leave that up in the both in the description and as a link here, just for you to see. What do you guys think of what's happened to the Charmers? From my point of view, like I said, the Sacred Beasts got so much support, so much more support than they kind of needed to make them more consistent. This has received no love at all. It's just, I'm horrified at how they've added to this. I'm hoping in the future to maybe make some decks focusing on the individual spellcasters to try and make them a little bit more viable. Let me know what you think of that. Whatever you think, leave comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.